Hey guys, and welcome back to the shed. This video is going to be exceptionally long, probably the longest video I ever made. Definitely, you guys know my video quality is not great. I'm not like a well thought out, planned individual. I'll apologize for the end. I honestly ran out of time with this project, as I do with so many projects. This was a larger one. And I stopped filming just to get it done. The filming takes a while. And so I'm going to try to explain a couple things now about, what took place here and what I've been up to. So the Midnite system is at this point completely in. And I mean, I've got like a combiner box and panel here. I've got the circuit breaker box with plug-ins up there. I've got the, I'm going to just call it a charge inverter. It's your inverter controller. And then I've got the circuit breaker panel down here. It really is just a good system. I can't ask for more. I know for a fact that it is a SRNE rebrand, but Midnite, I also know for a fact from talking with them that they had some tweaks, if you want to call it that, made to make this a better machine, a more reliable machine, and it truly is, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to be putting it to the big test over the summer, so it's really hard, well, that'll be like the deciding factor. It's going to carry some loads through the summer, and we're going to see how it does, and continuous loads too, that, won't max it out or go beyond max, but we'll be, in the range of greater than 50% continuous for sure. One of the things you may you missed in the video is about how I fastened it to the wall. We'll cover that really quick. It's a no-brainer. There's some screws. You screw the thing to the wall. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. And for the conduit, you drill some holes. You pull the conduit through, then you pull the wires through. It's also pretty straightforward. But I believe I've got a video coming up on pulling wires and some other stuff. I talk about, their customer service a little bit. At the time I was filming this or recording this, I'm sorry, dated myself there. I wasn't getting the response I expected from Midnite. But then I later found out that the guy that knows the most about these controllers is actually retired, and he comes in, he helps out when he can. And I totally respect that. And for anybody who knows what I'm talking about with Midnite over there, the guy that knows the most about these controllers and how they work and the ins and outs of it, he knows a lot. Like, if you got a serious question, he can answer it. He's not like Renogy or EcoWorthy, anybody like that. I mean, I don't know much about EG4 or Signature Solar, but they know a lot. Their technical crew is top notch, and they can answer any question that I've sprung on them. And I typically have some difficult questions. Anywho, moving beyond that, we'll talk a little bit in this video or the next video a little bit more about neutral ground bonding. I know throughout the video I've talked like I just don't know enough about it, but we're going to hook it up this way. It was hooked up correctly, by the way, and I know a lot more about it. We'll probably do a whole other segment on that and neutral ground bonding with this particular system, and eventually a generator and how it hooks up and all that. So for right now, let's take a look at the actual panel here. We've got the E-Panel is covered up right now. And I want to cover a couple things I didn't get to, which is where the PV wire is wired into. And I've changed it. You'll see some other videos where it's not quite this well put together. But you'll see that at this point here, I have got, I wonder if I can get a little light going here. Let's go with this. And so basically, part of this was pulling new wires. I've got a combiner box outside. That's a whole other different video there. Or not a combiner box. It is oh, that's just brighter than I want it to be, really. Whoops. I have a transition box out there that goes from the PV wire to the THHN wire, which you see here, which I really like a lot. I like how it worked out, and we'll talk more about that in another video. But essentially, you know, the PV wire, you know, is hooked up to this breaker up here. It comes in through this conduit over here, which is kind of ran to the outside, and into the combiner panel. We'll kind of go into that in another video, and how it's wired up and how the breakers work in the bus bar. Then it basically comes through this pole box, and then through the conduit here. Now I've got a neutral, and I also have a live right here, a load wire if you want to call it that, and I've got it wired up into the breaker right there. This is my PVN. Now what I decided to do, I've actually got 2 empty bus bars down back here. These bus bars are in place for surge protection and all of that. Right now there's nothing hooked to them. I don't really need them because I'm actually going to put the surge protector on the combiner box, and it's close enough to this. I'm feeling really good about it. I'm not too worried about anything else. I mean, technically I could wire it up different, but I really like the way I got it set up now. And then once we get the generator into place and we have AC in, essentially I'm going to have, you know, rearrange this over here. We're going to have, if it fits down here, we'll do it, or we'll rearrange this, and then I'll have another surge protector put in, so that way there's no spikes in voltage or anything else. But essentially you can see where, now I believe I have this screwed on, and I do, here, let's just take it off really quick here. I got a minute. Let's put that down there. Pop that off there, and okay. Okay, there's that. So essentially you can see where, you know, I've got the load, you know, the DC power and the negative coming in through the breakers there, and then it kind of snakes up through there and into my DC positive and negative here on the, let's just call it a charge inverter, you know, charge inverter controller, I don't know, controller charge inverter, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. As far as fastening the panels into place, or the panels, the E-panel and the do-it-yourself, I think in the video I demonstrate behind this lug here, there's a screw hole, and that's screwed off, and then up there we've got a couple screws that hold that into place. For the E-panel itself, we've got a screw up in that corner, one up in, there it is, it's up in that corner there, then one down below over here, one down below over there. So you can see basically it's like, it's a really solid setup. You'll see me kind of get frustrated through the video here and there with things that were not put together right, in my opinion. I don't think that was Midnite's fault. I think they got a subcontractor to put these together, and essentially the quality wasn't quite there like I expected. I had to make some modifications throughout this video to make sure that everything worked out swell, and it did. I'm not gonna lie, it worked out really swell. So I am very pleased with this panel, and I'm disappointed, not with Midnite. I understand why they're not making them anymore, but I'm disappointed that they're not being made. And saying that, I'm, you know, and Midnite, if you're listening, if I'm overstepping my bounds here, let me know and we'll figure it out, you know, what to do about it. I am currently designing something very similar to this E-panel here, with a cover plate and everything, and the circuit breakers, DIN rails and everything. I am currently designing one for a different do-it-yourself type controller, and I'm going to use Midnite breakers in it. That's just smart, in my opinion. It's a smart thing to do. I've had fuses fail, I've had breakers fail. I trust Midnite, I really do. So you'll hear me complain about some things, but all in all, I'm very pleased with everything in this panel, okay? And this complete setup. It has worked awesome so far. So anyways, enjoy the video. It's long. There's a lot of stuff going on there. There's a lot of wiring going on there and different reasons why there is set up the way it is. But essentially, you're going to get the point. You're going to know how to wire something like this together. Again, if you have any questions throughout the video, you know, comment on it. I will circle back to it. I promise you. Okay. All right. Let's get started, and you're going to hear it again. But hi all, and welcome back to the shed. As you may have heard me say in a couple other videos, I'm kind of going to dismantle the Renogy system. It's a little bit too unreliable as my primary system, so we're going to dismantle it. I'm going to put it in a role that's not so critical to, you know, day-to-day operations. And I know that Renogy is a rebranded SRNE type controller, and I'm moving on to a Midnite MN3024, which is a 3000 watt 24 volt controller, and kind of an all-in-one deal with an E-Panel, which you see behind me. And I know that the Midnite is a SRNE rebrand also, this particular Midnite controller anyways. I understand this. Kind of hoping for some better tech support if I need it, although I've been in contact with them prior to the purchase of this E-Panel and also of the 3024, the MN3024 all-in-one controller. And, you know, they're okay. And a lot of faux pas in their manual. We'll go over that once I introduce the controller. But tonight we're going to kind of take a look at the E-Panel here, which is a really nice unit. I really like it. Now, there's going to be some adjustments I have to make to it. It doesn't quite line up with the controller like I would like it to, but we'll make those modifications and make it happen. Basically, I'm going to put a couple circuit breakers in tonight and just kind of play around with, you know, the setup in general and, you know, get to know it a little bit more, because it is taking the place of, like, you know, you see with the Renogy system back here, we've got the inline fuses and this and that. This replaces all of that for, you know, really what they're picturing here is a nice clean setup, and I really like that. These E-Panels are kind of specific to you know, Midnite Solar, and you know, they sell them with their other Midnite controllers and the Snyders and the Midnite Classics and stuff like that. They have different E-Panels, even for the Victron, and I forget what else, but quite a long line. So this one was made for the 3024, which, by the way, will work with the SRNE 3024. I forget the actual, like, model number for that, and also the EcoWorthy. They're all the same. I'm hoping that the Midnite one has got a few bugs that are worked out, and we can figure that out, or they figure that out, and it operates maybe better. I don't know. We're going to test out the app, the whole 9 yards. But for right now, let's go ahead and take a look at this, and take a look and see what's inside of it, okay? Okay, this is take two on the E-Panel. Is really it'd be take one of the actual E-Panel and looking inside of it. So here we go. Okay guys, so this is the panel. It has a removable lid here with, you can see screw holes on each side. Wait a minute, that working? Yep, it sure is. And you can see that's how it's fastened in. Wish there was something a little bit quicker. I may put some knobs in place of that, just to screw it off as opposed to using a screwdriver, because this may be mounted in a smaller space. I don't want to deal with the screwdriver. So taking the panel off, you can see inside here, you know, we've got some bus bars, some neutral bus bars, ground, and a positive that is actually needing to be repaired. This was unfortunately stripped out when I got it, and it was pretty loose in there. So life is life, you know. Sometimes you got to deal with these things, but you know, everything else seems to be pretty solid here. Nothing else is falling out, and I do have a screw here in one of my boxes to or my organizer tray, so to speak, to fix that, which I'll do it in a minute. You guys don't need to see that. Basically, this is the bus bar here. And this kind of went down just like this. There was a screw that went down through that hole, and it was stripped out. So I've got a nut to put on the bottom of it, and then this actually clips in just like that. And then this whole contraption here snaps it all together. It is a UL rated part. All the parts in here I believe are UL rated, but this panel itself is not. They actually discontinued this panel. Very hard to find. Even harder to find is one of the bigger ones for the 5048 or the 3548. Very impossible to find, but the 3024, I did grab one of these. I found it. I'm pretty happy about that. So basically, let's take a look here. Let's get started with the instruction manual here and see what they got to say. So this does provide AC and DC over current protection, and disconnects required for an NEC compliant renewable energy system. Again, this is NEC compliant, but it's not rated, nor is it UL rated. So this one here is so this is an MN125DIY-120S, which is rated for the DIY MN3024DIY inverter. So AC input, and it has an AC input and an inverter. We'll just put that there. So it does come with, this kit does come with all the breakers and stuff. We'll take a look here. This is for the PV wire breaker. We'll just put that to the side. And then over here we've got the AC wire and breaker kit, and it's got a pretty interesting contraption in here, which I really like. I thought it was pretty slick. So when you look at this, you've got two of these controllers that sit next to each other, and they've got this wire here so that when, how does it work? So like if something goes out, it'll automatically switch to the other, so you continue to get AC power, I believe what it is, provided you're plugged to shore power or something of that nature. So if you have something within your inverter that trips, this will click, it'll automatically pull it to the other position, and boom, you're in good shape. You continue to run power. I really like that safety feature. It's very nice. And like I was saying in the intro, I need something more reliable for the shed here. We're not going to have, eventually we're going to have like shore power to it. It's going to tie in with this system just for emergencies. But this is going to be running everything. It's going to be running my security system. It's going to be running probably a ham radio, and some other emergency equipment. So we want this to be as dependable as we can and have multiple options. So basically, let's see what we got to say here. We've got, it also has a DC breaker disconnect from the battery bank, as required by NEC, and got AC neutral, AC in out bus bars, DC positive negative, PV positive negative ground bus bars, DIN rail, which we already went over that, and it mates with the it pretty close fit to the inverter, and we'll probably have to make some adjustments to make it line up, to be honest with you. But that's life. I'm used to these things at this point when we're dealing with the solar world. Seems like nothing is as stated. So we're just going to kind of skip through some of this stuff here and kind of look at they also come with all the prepared wires and whatnot, so we'll skip through that. We're going to get right to this, like the order of operations here, basically. We'll go through the rest of the instructions later once we got everything hooked up. It'll be funner that way, is what I say. Got pretty complete instructions. This has more complete instructions than the do-it-yourself controller does. I'll put it that way. We'll just keep moving on here till we find where this starts up. Here we go. Mounting procedures. Okay, determine knockouts for use, knockout prep info. Wire this up before mounting to the wall. This is the diagram on how we're going to be wiring everything up. This is where the panel and the inverter marry together. So we've got this one, the AC bypass, in the very beginning with the AC input breaker over here, a couple slots. So let's take a look at that first, see if they got instructions. Well, doesn't really look like it. Talking about the ground wires, we're not going to do that on this little slot here. What do we got here? So let's take a look. See, AC bypass breaker, 40 amp. Flick out yellow lock tab. Install it upside down. So this is a yellow lock tab on each of them, it looks like. Just like that. So number one, bypass breaker, 40 amp, flick out yellow tab, install it upside down. Okay. So this is something that we've got to pay attention to, making sure that it all lines up, and it, wow, guess that's the way she rolls there. So let's put that right there. That is a nice fit right there. I really like that. Okay, that one's upside down. Number two, AC out breaker, 40 amp, install right side up. So this is where we want to have this little pin here. It's going to be opposite of each other. That's going to slide in just like that. I like how they sent it to me backwards, which is interesting, but you know, hey, they want us to be paying attention, I suppose. So now we can lock those into place with the yellow tabs, and they are in there. That is spectacular. This is a really cool setup. Look at that. That is slick. That is professional looking. I'm very disappointed that Midnite has kind of discontinued this, because this is really awesome, actually. Okay. We've already aligned the breakers. We got the yellow tabs back in to lock them into place. Okay. Now they're moving right on to wiring, which we're going to come to that later. And we're going to install the PV breaker, okay? Actually, let's do the AC breaker. So we're going to pull the yellow tab out again so we can lock it into place. We've got the AC like right about, let's take a look here. See how close I am. Ooh, a little bit off on that one. We can scoot her down though. Whoops. Okay, I really like that. Okay, let's just do a little check see here. Oh, that is slick, you guys. That is slick. I like that. I like that a lot. It's just pretty awesome. So the next one we've got This is our PV wiring, so we'll go over here to this kit. This is PV wire and breaker kit right here. So we're going to install this next. We're going to keep the wires in the bags because they are specific wires, pre-cut and predetermined for this kit. So this is going to be kind of fun. So let's go over to here, and I see. So they've got a different type of spring-loaded action right here. Looks like it'll clip right into place. So let's go ahead and put this about right here. We're going to line this up is what we're going to do first. Oh yeah. We're going to have that settled in right there. What I'm going to do is grab my trusty screwdriver. There we go, and it just kind of clicked right down into place here. Let's do another double check with this. Oh man. So this is really cool, you guys. I like this a lot, actually. This is fantastic. Very, very cool stuff. And then we've got one more breaker over here. And this is our battery wire and breaker kit. So pretty stout, big old 80 ampere, I believe, 200 amp or something like that. Volt, sorry, volt. Yeah, this is, no, it's a 200 amp. I was correct, actually. 80 volt, 200 amp, 80 volt right there. Let's go ahead and snap that into, we got the yellow tabs on this one, so we can pull them out. Just like that. That's about a DIN rail or about an empty slot away, so we're going to pop that in about like that. Oh, this is slick, you guys. Midnite, I'm proud of you guys on this, though. I really, despite, you know, this thing not being as it's supposed to be, I really do like this setup. This is eliminating like all of those inline fuses and wires and stuff. So this is a really fantastic setup. I mean, what the hey? This is amazing, actually. Super amazing. So all the breakers are in. This is how it's set up. So once we get the wiring done, it's going to look like that. And then the controller is going to sit on top. And I can't believe it. That is going to be slick looking, you guys. That is going to be super slick. Oh, she's rocking on something there. I may have to file this one out just a little bit. No, she'll work. I think I'm going to file it. There's some little, can't probably see them in there, but that's sticking out just a little bit right there and kind of pushing things around. We'll go ahead and file it out. Okay, so I'm trying to, I fixed this so it's not wobbling in here, which is fine. The bus bar is out. The thing with it is like this is warped and it won't fit in properly. It won't stay on. You can see where there's some stress marks there. And this thing was actually kind of flopping around when I first got it too. I was like, oh, don't know what's going on there. Then I noticed a screw. I'll show you guys what I did. I just put like a nut on the bottom of that. It hangs proud, but all of these hang proud. And it's not going to matter because where the screws are going to come through, in order to line up with the controller, I have to put some spacers back there anyways to bring it off the wall a little bit so it'll line up better. Not to mention, I did a test run of this, and I'll show you in some of these holes here, especially on this side. I'm going to have to auger them out some more because they're not quite lining up with the instruments and whatnot on the 3024, the controller. But that it is what it is. You know, I'm still generally happy with this, and I do believe that I'll look and see what part number this is. I may have to replace it in the future, but for right now, we're going to try to make it work. I may actually heat that up and see if I can just bend it back to place. We'll try that. Okay, I heated it up and I pushed it around, and it actually looks like it's straighter and not so warped or deflected right now. So what I'm going to do, it's got these two little pins right here that fit into the hole of the bus bar. I'm going to line that up and just slide her into place there. And there we go. And I used a heat gun to heat that up. Anybody's interested in my methodology there. Okay, so that's pretty well locked into place there. Lord knows what way this is supposed to point, but we're going to go for it this way. Well, she just don't want to fit down in there, and it's pissing me off, to be frank with you. So, hole. And the only reason it's really pissing me off is on some of this stuff, I just expected a little bit more out of Midnite, I suppose. I can see where it's sliding underneath that little catch there, but it's not sliding underneath this one. There's nothing holding it up. Just wants to pop up, man. Something is out of whack on this sucker, and I don't know what it is. Well, let's see if we can get her to fit. Yeah. She's just a fucked one is what she is. I bet those holes that it's mounted to are out of whack, would be my guess. I wonder, let's try this really quick. See, the bummer of it is like there's a few things that are just not quite right with this thing, and this is one of them. I'm gonna have to work on it something different. I'm gonna have to, it's not lining up correctly is what it is. We're gonna have to figure that out. I'll be back. Okay, so I believe I have a fix for this bus bar. It just so happened that I had, oh, where did it go here? Here we go. Some copper washer assortments. Probably not ideal, but I found some big ones. So what was happening, where the indentation was on the back, the recess part that they did with machining, it was causing these two bases here, buttresses, whatever you want to call them, to kind of rock in, and they were out of whack. And so then this wouldn't snap in properly and snug, which is much better now. Well, I may end up doing that with all of them. We'll see how it all goes. So the washers came in handy. I just picked those up the other day too, lo and behold. So that went in pretty well. You can see the washers are like right down in here underneath, and they're a larger washer, so around that you know, that recess cavity that got punched from the, you know, the outside in, it actually fit around that, allowing this to be a solid mount. Now, one of the things I don't like about it is it's kind of hard to see here, but right here is one of the punch outs or knockouts right there, and it's already like
and we like very close to this here. Actually, this is one of the design features I don't like about this. We'll talk about that later. But raising this up even made it just a little bit more tight. We're still going to make it work, but I'm not exactly happy with this setup here. And we may end up using one of these over here, this design for the surge protector. And I'm not going to use all the surge protectors right now, but we may find a different way to loop this in, or this. I don't know. We're going to find out. So basically, let's take a look here and just see if this snaps in. Now, I used a heat gun. I heated it up. I straightened out the cover plate here. We've got the 2 holes in the back here. They're going to line up with the 2 pins that stick out here. Let's just see what happens, okay? Oh, man, it feels like it's going to go on there. That is just a ton better. She actually snapped into place like she should. Looks really good. Midnite, if you need any more advice, just let me know. I'm just kidding. At any rate, she fit in there pretty gosh darn well. She's nice and snug now. It seems like all of these are a lot better. It was just the recess cavities on those 2 that are kind of messing up. Everything else looks really snug. We got this all into place, and we'll wire it up here in the next scene, or start wiring a lot of this together before we mount it on the wall. We'll get to that in a moment, or here later on in the video. But you can see this is just one heck of a clean look here. I mean, holy cow. Midnite, I congratulate you on this one. This is really nice. It's really slick. For somebody like myself, even though I get it, my shed's a little bit of a mess right now, I do like things to be nice and clean looking, and that is sharp, my friend. So I'm really pleased with this. Now, I'm going to have to shave down the bolts on the other side, but you know, remember, I've got spacers that got to go on the back of this where it screws through. Basically, in order, because this is a little bit narrower than the controller. In order to get the holes to line up the best we can, it's got to have a little spacer right here, which I do have the spacers here in one of my boxes. I think that'll work out just fine and kind of bring everything out to flush, and we'll make her look sharp, that's for sure. Okay, whoa. Okay, so I think I mentioned earlier, or I mentioned it for the first time, I don't remember, but basically where the controller is meeting the E-Panel, we've got a little misalignment, see if I can get a good light on that, of the grounding terminal and also the breaker switch. Everything else seems to line up pretty well. This is something I'm just going to modify. I mean, at the end of the day, I believe that this panel was sent back. There were some things that were missing in here that they're sending me new ones. There was a damaged bus bar that I happened to fix with my own intuition and materials. But I think they sent it back because probably something like this, and it's just kind of a, well, faux pas on whoever designed this. But we're going to go ahead and cut it. What I'm going to do is basically, let's see if I can get this light to just stay there. I'm going to take my Dremel tool and I'm just going to cut like a section out. I'm going to cut this off first, right up here, about to here, I believe. Let's go ahead and mark that. And then I'm going to take this down to about right here to the top of this, I believe. Let's try that first. Got some good marks. Okay. I'll just use this Dremel tool. It's got a little cut-off tool on it. We'll get in there, do some grinding. I'll save you guys the boredom of all that. Okay. Okay, so I got done using the Dremel tool. Hopefully this is clear to you guys on camera. And you can see I ended up just taking out like a big section of that and actually made it a lot cleaner. We'll show you what's going on from this side here. So basically
That should work. So basically, we've got you know, a nice square look here. I've got a little bit of a notch for that grounding lug, so that way I can get something onto there, and basically kind of cleaned it up. Now everything else is going to line up really well. We'll take another look on the inside here when it pops right up. The only problem I think I could have is basically, there we go, right here where our Ethernet or USB goes, whatever you want to call that, it may not be able to fit. I may have to do a little bit of grinding right there, but we'll see when that time comes. The dongle is still in the mail. Okay, looking good. We're making progress on making this a functional E-panel. Okay, so basically we're going to start wiring up the E-panel and get as much of those wires in place and torqued down as we can. We're going to, and then we'll mount it to the wall with a junction box underneath it, and we'll cover that soon. I may not be able to do all that today, but we'll see. And then we have, you know, the controller will go on top of it, and then we'll wire both of those together. But we want to have these wires in place first, and we're going to start out with the most basic here, the ground wiring, okay? And it says, you know, connect green wire, which is the AC01-8G, which I couldn't find anything representing that number anywhere except for 8G must be the gauge. This is an 8-gauge wire. It's got some decent length for it because basically it's going to run from our ground bus bar. And it looks like, yeah, let's take a look-see here. So that's going to kind of go through the DIN bar here, it looks like. And let's see here. Let's just go ahead and wire it through there for now. Actually, let's do this. I have to loosen that lug up a little bit. There we go. Oh. Huh. I keep finding things I don't like with this panel. Well, you know, at the end of the day, if I end up designing one myself for uses with other controllers, not meaning to steal your idea there, Midnite, but I really like this idea. It just needed to be worked on a little bit, I think. Let's go ahead and loosen that up even more. Okay, and let's use a regular screwdriver to kind of cinch her down. And basically, so 8 WGs and small bus bar, we're looking at 25 inch-pounds. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. Okay, so we have our, had to get out an adapter and stuff to make all this work. I've got a 3/8 inch torque wrench and had to get all that figured out. Now, it's going to be kind of tight in there. See that ground moving around? It's horrible, you guys. Oh, crud. Kind of need an extension for that. Let's see what I got here. Extendo wouldn't be a bad idea. Oh, let's see here. There we go. I'm going to have to take that out and tighten that screw down. Okay, she just clicked. And I do not like how loose that is, but, well, she snapped in there. No, that's just redunculous.
like every tool in the book out here to get things going. I guess I should go through and make sure all these are tight. I don't know. I kind of anticipated they'd be torqued down in at the factory, ready to rock and roll. I don't think that's the right size. I thought it was. No, let's go. That's made by Midnite. And I don't. It's a little bit simpler than this, but by golly, I don't want to deal with a bunch of stuff here. There, that's pretty solid now. Check all of these out. Well, so far that's 2 bus bars that I've had to do something to, and one of them I had to modify in order to get it to work correctly. This one here, fortunately, is just a matter of tightening it down. But now she's in there, so this is the way this project's been going. Unfortunately, it's like I'm like, all right, let's do something, and then you know, 4 hours later, I'm fixing everything to make it continue to go forth. Like I said before, if there is somebody that, you know, didn't have the experience and background that I have, all the way from electronics to home remodeling, all aspects of home remodeling, including, you know, electricity and carpentry and plumbing and all that, it should be difficult to figure out why it's wrong. You could actually be a hazard, stuff like that can. I still like the panel though. Okay. Next it says here in the old instructions, it's like we're going to connect green ground wire, another 8G. I don't know how they identify that, but I anticipate it's this short one I got here. Remove for system connected to utility power. Okay. That's a good note to have there. Connect between neutral bus bar and ground bus bar. Only make one neutral to ground bond in the system. I'm gonna connect it, but I'm gonna read more up on that because there are certain things I don't know. 2 AC ground terminals. Only one needs to be bonded to the ground bus bar. The ground screw on the bottom of the DIY inverter is common to the AC ground and does not need to be bonded. So I kind of notched out for that, but I guess I don't need to bond it because it's going to be bonded this way. That's fine by me. We'll still do her. So you can see that in the diagram here that this comes out of the ground and into the neutral bus bar. So let's take a look at that. That's 25 pounds. Oh, gosh darn it. That's pretty stinking tight though. I'll take it. Okay, good, good. On to the next here. So we've got, just to double check, the ground screw in the bottom, okay. But this sticker right here, it says, remove from for system connected to utility power, which we're not connected to utility power right now. Let's take a look at what it's asking us to do next. Okay, install AC breakers. We've got all that. Okay, so it's saying connect black wire AC28B to the top of AC in breaker to do-it-yourself inverter. AC in breaker. So let's take a look at AC in breaker is going to be, this is AC out. AC in breaker is this one right here. We've got an AC in bus bar. Okay, so basically what I'm gathering here, we are gathered here today. This goes from here over to ACN, and then the ACN is also going to be for the we're going to be doing some modifications on this in the future, that's for sure. Let's go with this one. I don't even know which one it is. There's not like a way to really figure out which wire's what. We're just guessing in the wind, but I'm going to guess that this one goes to ACN. We've got it on the paper right here. AC breaker in, ACN. So I'm going to go ahead and wire that up now from here to there. We'll come back. Okay, next on the old instructions. It was a little bit of a pain in the behind to get this wire in, but we got it, and some things I'm just not real happy with, but we're going to make her work in the end. So connect white wire to DIY. This is number 1 and number 4, whatever that means. So this is going to go, it looks like, from here on the neutral bus bar. Could be kind of anywhere on that sucker, that's for sure. Okay, she's there, 25. Alright, so that goes in just about like that, looks like. I don't like that kink a lot, but we're going to work with it. Would almost rather had it coming off this side and underneath, but I'm just going to follow what they're doing here, because maybe they, with the surge protector, they've got other stuff going on here. Now next on the list, we've got connect black wires, another 8B at top right of AC out breaker. This is number 2, top right, to do-it-yourself inverter AC out. So that's this right here, in case you guys can't see it. Going to come out right here and go right over to the line in. So let's go ahead and there it is, 25 pounds. Okay, next on the old agenda, connect white wire, 8 gauge, do it yourself. That's number 4 on the list here. So that one's going from neutral terminal. Wait a minute. Neutral terminal, that's the AC out neutral terminal, goes all the way down to the neutral bus bar. Okay, we're gonna be special focus over here, boys, tell you what. Okay, so we just looped that through the DIN bar, got a little bend in it, a little softer of a bend that time. I hope it works. Wiggle that bad boy in there. There we go. So that's going to be up and ready to roll here. there's that. There's 25 right there. Hey now. All right. Now. Now we're going on to connect black wire. Another 8 gauge at AC and bus bar. To the top left side of the AC bypass breaker. That must be one of these long ones. Okay, so we got the black wire kind of ran to this point. Let's go ahead and torque her down a little bit. There it is, 25 pounds. Nice and stout in there. Kind of bent. Everything's really tight. Like I think there's a way to do this differently, that's all. But we're going to roll with this one for now. I'm going to observe it. I think in the future I'm going to make one. Knockouts, events, and all that. And just for fun. I know it's going to be expensive because it's been kind of a one and done deal, but we're going to go for it. Okay, now the AC in bus bar. Okay, this one circles all the way around to the AC top left side of the AC bypass breaker. So this one here, this terminal here on the top left, loosen all that up, move some wires around here, sneak that on in like that, tighten that bad boy on down. She's pretty snug right there. Put that back. Let's get a nice little, how you doing on there? That was my 25 right there. Feeling pretty snug, and we'll just leave that nice and pretty like. Okay. Next on the list, we've got connect black wire, another 8 gauge, at AC out bus bar. Okay, to the bottom left side of the AC bypass breaker. So that's going to go from here to here, okay? Okay, so I've got these 2 wires in here. Did a little bit of a change from what they had for a layout. I think that the surge protector has a little bit more give, and I'm probably not going to use one for a while, but we'll cross that bridge down the road. Randomly, when I was tightening things down, like this piece of plastic came from somewhere, and I don't know where it came from exactly, but everything seems to be okay. We'll find out one way or another. Now, we've got one more wire they want us to hook up, and that is connect the black wire, another 8 gauge.
I'm presuming anyways. That AC in bus bar, that's right here, that'd be that one. And that's going to go over to the AC in breaker. Okay, so last but not least, actually we're going to circle back up to here, and this bad boy goes in right here at the top of our AC in, and then it's going to come over to the AC in of the inverter, it looks like. So a lot of wires, a lot of stuff to keep track of. When I get her up on the wall, we'll go through and do a torque of everything else. These breakers are 20 pounds. So what we'll do is, well, that's got a bend in there already, doesn't it? We're just going to straighten that out a little bit. Come in like that. That's a little bit long. Even the long side for the inverter. There, that works out better. Okay, we got that. Let's do a little torquey torque. There it is. That took a minute. Squishy squish. Okay, so I don't have the part for this yet. So what we're going to do, this is another bus bar that attaches to this for the negative to come in and attach. But we'll go ahead and attach this here. This is our positive terminal. And also, I'm not going to attach, because I don't have surge protectors right now, so we're not going to attach this section for the PV panels. What we're going to do is just bring the PV panels in and go directly to the breaker. And we'll discuss the surge protector later. I don't think it would be a bad idea to do the panels. I just don't have them right now. And I don't think there's going to be any, what do you call it, thunderstorms rolling in the direct future. So what I'm going to do for now is take this, give it a little bend. We'll have to bend it again. Let that just kind of stick through there. Going through here. Okay, it's going to be just about right there, I suppose. Hopefully that'll clear all that. We're going to go ahead and torque that down. And they've got a torque in the manual here. I want to say they said 80 pounds. That's a lot, but at least I've got a good nut to bite onto here as opposed to a flathead screwdriver type situation. I don't like that though, at all. And I have to go off to the side. About there it looks like. So if you look over here on like, looks like page 21, it says battery bus bar stud, 220 inch-pounds. Okay, 220, there it is. For you, Midnite, 220 pounds. Clickety clack. Okay, so there's that. Now, I think until we get this mounted up here, which I've got to disassemble. But okay, just to catch everybody up to speed, basically got some conduit, and that's going to run up there. This is for the battery terminal. The battery wires, positive and negative, and that conduit's going to go right down through that hole, and we're going to fish it on over to the battery bank down below here. Kind of messy right now because I cleared off the shop table, shed table, whatever you want to call it, and we're kind of redoing some stuff here. Good times. Okay, you can see we got the conduit in, and it's kind of poking out down there. Later on we'll put an elbow on it, and I've got some holes drilled over there. For now, looking really good. This should mount on it really nice. Let's take a look-see here. Unscrew that. Oops, gosh darn it. It's a long day. Oh yeah, that's looking great. Oh no. Well, I didn't expect that. Okay. Something we got to fix right there. The right button, but we'll go over it again. Another thing I noticed is that this top corner isn't like fastening anything. It's just loose there. And I don't know why. I really just don't know why. So, Midnite. I don't know if you did a subcontract on these things or not, but man, maybe not take the lowest bidder next time, please. Okay. Okay, so this, even though they say in the instruction pamphlets, your positive from the breaker to the positive in on your controller should not be hooked up first. I recommend taking it out. You've got a hole back here in the back. I don't know if you can see it, kind of right underneath the positive terminal there, lug, that we've got to screw down the bottom of the controller with. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. We're going to screw in the top. We're going to kind of get this thing into shape. It's looking really good though, no? Check that bad boy out. What? Okay, so the battery in is in, but man, it's not happy. It's really like kinked right there. I'm going to go ahead and make a different 2-gauge wire, because this one here, I just don't like it. It's just too tight. It's too long. It's not flexible enough. I've got some better 2-gauge wire. We're going to go ahead and do it up. Okay, so I've got the new positive cable replaced. I like it a lot better. This is it's got more strands of wire in it. It's 100% copper. It's a welding wire, and I'm able to get it in there without any big kinks. It's a little bit shorter, a little bit more flexible, not rubbing up against the chassis here. So I'm really happy about that. Next, we're going to go over to here. And we've got these wires that we installed earlier, and we're going to install them, connect the E-Panel to the inverter charger, okay? So we'll just start from left to right, I believe. And then on the far left here, we've got coming from ground, is what it looks like. We've got a ground all the way over here. And this is coming from our ground bus bar that is down over here. That's our green wire. And what we're going to do... Oh, wait a minute. Trash day. Okay, trash is arranged, ready for pickup. So, we're going to go ahead and hook this up here. Now, I think we can do it if I slide this through like so. Which is interesting. I've been trying to contact Midnite. I usually get through to their initial tech person, who's very kind, but then they refer me over to somebody else, because my questions tend to be a little bit more advanced, and
So it has to go up to higher level of tech, but the thing that is, higher level of tech doesn't get back with me. It's kind of a bummer, really, because some of these questions are important when it has to deal with neutral ground bonds and, you know, input size or input capacity, which is, we'll come back and torque all these down today. There's that. Because the thing of it is like in their manual, they said that this inverter was only good for 1400 watts input from PV panels, only to find out it's actually 1600 watts, which makes a heck of a lot of difference, you guys. Heck of a lot. That would have been something to really have clarified in the beginning. Saved me a lot of headache and purchasing of different panels and stuff like that. So now we're going to go with the line neutral in, which is this bad boy. These are both neutrals. I guess it doesn't really matter which one's which here. And we'll use this one here. Come back and torque those. Now, next one over is our AC out. And we're going to go line. And that's coming from this breaker here. Little tug test on that bad boy. That one seems to be staying in pretty well. Maybe I just forgot to. Okay. Now one thing that's kind of cool, and the difference between like the Renogy and the SRNEs, Midnite did have this additional ground added in, which is kind of nice for the big picture here. Oh boy. These wires get frayed even a little bit. They don't really fit up in there, which is good for a nice tight fit, but you got to be really careful. Otherwise we're going to be re-prepping that wire. There we go. Well, should about bottom out in that one. If I loosen that up a little bit. Should be all right. Whoops. Oops, don't want to strip that. Okay, there's that. Next one we got is a AC line in. Okay, so these are hooked up. I'll torque them to spec. Save you guys the English on that one. Okay, so basically I manufactured a bus bar for the ground. I want to get this project rolling. They're supposed to send me the actual piece that goes in here. I did it with a grinder, cutoff wheel, the Dremel tool, and a drill. Not pretty, but she'll do the job. She's structurally intact, so to speak, and it'll hold up. So let's go ahead and get that installed, and we can get this thing up and running today. Okay, folks, we have everything hooked up except for the hot wire. I've checked all the wires. I've checked all the torque. We've got everything is in place with this. This should, as soon as I hook it up to here, crank right up. Now I have a battery tester right here. Well, battery tester, voltmeter. Let's go ahead and switch that on over to 200 volts. Got everything off right now. So before we hook anything up, let's do a quick test here. Okay. we've got 26.6 volts. Kind of hard to read on your guys' end, but I'll try to show you here if I can. .6 volts. If you guys can see that. So we're in the money. Batteries are hooked up correctly. And what we're going to do, okay, that didn't do anything. So we're going to spin on over here. And we are grounded. Basically over here, this is my old earth ground bus bar. It's been fastened with the last system. We're just going to utilize it for now until I move it. And be careful if it's hot. And it's coming in over here and attaching to the ground bus bar. So let's focus a little bit, Gary, and get this in a safe place. Now, it's not a bad little panel. I personally think I would have done it differently. I think they just designed it, never really tested it. That's all I can think of, really. But potentially a different story. Now, AC in, it's going to stay off because we ain't using it, okay? We've got an AC out over here. I'm probably not going to hook that up tonight, but I might. Right now, I want to crank up the Midnite. Let's see here. Nothing. We got an on-off switch down here, so we got power there. All right, we got power up here. I'm just throwing it off for some reason. Oh, there it goes. It's taking off now. Well, let's take this off the how you doing and take a look here. It's saying single lead acid. We're going to change that. We'll have to see what the yellow flashing light is. Okay. From what I can see, we're running here. Let's go. Okay, so as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I didn't record the end of installing this because I needed to get it done. But, you know, after, you know, we got this DC hot in, the positive wire in, I went ahead and, you know, at the time I pulled some different PV wires and wired them up to the breaker and then through up and into the inverter charge controller. So all in all, that was pretty straightforward. Wiring it up here was just like wiring it up over there. Everything went together swell. I've got a little bit of extra wire here and there. One of the things I would have done differently is this wire here that is my ground for my line out. Basically, I went down to the bus bar down here, and then now I've got my line out to the bus bar. I think if I was to do it different, I would have left this green wire long and just ran it up to the line out like it's supposed to and save the space on the bus bar. It's all grounded anyways. That's the thing, and that's the beauty about this particular controller is that, or charger, inverter, whatever you want to call it, that differentiates it from the Renogy and the basic SRNE models is it does have that ground up there, which makes it nice. In saying that, I think that, you know, if you wired it up the way I've got it wired and didn't have that ground and you had your neutral ground bond, the breakers, the bus bars, you could, in fact, you know, make your own ground that way. But Midnite just cut to the chase, said, hey, we're going to make it simple for everybody, and we're going to ground our line out, our AC line out directly from the box. And it's a great addition to this panel, I think. So, again, you guys, I really appreciate you tuning in. We're going to have some videos coming up on wiring up the combiner box here, which I think is really super sweet. Actually, it's got breakers on it, bus bar inside of it, the whole 9 yards. We got another video coming up on how I wired this together and how it comes out of the load out here and up, and how I could have done that differently. Honestly, this has got space for additional load outs here. I could have done differently, but I felt like the E-Panel, the box was just getting a little bit too full. And so I decided to go ahead and just use the old breaker panel that I had up there that was already hooked up to a receptacle outside. So, you know, it worked out either way. But in the future, like I said, I'm going to be doing some other E-Panel stuff. And I believe that I'm going to do a couple things different just to try it. I'm not going to say my way's better than Midnite, but you know, we're going to try some different things and a little bit different layout and just kind of see how it works. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in, and sorry the video's so long. Jump through it. If you guys want to, I'll make different segments on different sections, but I think it just kind of is what it is, and it makes it easy to find if you just jump through the video. And that's about it. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I definitely have more Renogy stuff coming up. I've got more Midnite stuff coming up, and I've got more eco-worthy stuff coming up. And in the distant future, you know, probably later on in, you know, half a year or something, and maybe next fall, I don't know, we're going to have some EG4 stuff coming up also, with some really in-depth tutorials about how to set these up for your batteries. And we may even go into like the AGM world a little bit and the lead acid world a little bit, just to have some fun and make sure that we cover all the bases, so that you folks that are out there getting into solar and you have different batteries and stuff, we want you to do it safely. We don't want any big fires. We don't want any meltdowns, because this stuff could potentially get out of hand, right? So anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.